Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Under Construction, the show where we underconstruct. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man, and with me, I have nobody. I don't know why I launched into that automatically. That's a little bit too much. I need to get back to the swing of things. It's only been about a week since I've returned from Italy, as I have spoken about, and I had quite a rousing response to the first episode under construction. So we have, first of all, some new hardware. So if you want to look at just the way this looks, with the shadows and the grass and the textures being a little bit nicer and better. Moreover, we can head over into Olive once everything loads in, which I put the whole game on a new hard drive, so things should be coming in a little bit faster. And we can take a little... Whoa. Everything's still loading in. Take a little walk down the street, which doesn't look that great with all the spline points, but Town of Olive looks just as good as ever, and I could probably turn things down a little bit. Why is everything disappearing? And everything's going to reappear. Town of Olive looks better than ever, with all the shadows and everything. It's amazing. I love it. And I can see distances without extremely major performance hits. You know, it drops it maybe back down to where it was before. Again, I can turn things off, turn things down, and get 100 frames. Right now I'm getting 20 looking at this. So, that's better than I pretty much ever had in this area at all. But once we leave, things hop right back up to 60. Or, well, 50 right now. And there's 60. So, anyways, we're going to be working... I did some more grass over here, that's all I did in the meantime. We're going to be working in this direction. I want to get to the river's edge here. I'm not sure about working on the river's edge specifically, but I want to get here. I was told... Oh, you know what? I can just get to the comments, because that's what I'm about to talk about. First of all, the top comment, or, well, the top one that I'm seeing here, because there are quite a few, and I just clicked on whatever the first one was in my thing. And it's from Raillord, and it is a whopper of a comment. So if you want to go back to this is the last episode, episode 34, Crossing the River. If you want to go back through this and read through this with me, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite a bit. So, interesting, he says. Since you were in Italy, I was kind of hoping you would have tried a Sicilian accent for a bit and sound like the Godfather. First of all, Sicilians aren't real Italians. Second of all, I was doing it a little... I had a little bit of an Italian accent sort of while I was there. It actually sort of... It started coming out. It started coming out of nowhere. But it turns out that when you're dealing with people who don't really speak English, pronouncing stuff in the same sort of accent that they're used to saying helps them understand it a little bit better. So we would purposefully say things sort of Italianized to help people understand us better. And it worked to an effect. Or to an extent, rather. Obviously it wasn't perfect. But it was interesting, and yeah, I started developing an accent a little bit just from being around all that. It was not purposeful, and it went away pretty quickly when I realized it was there, but it was interesting to have happen. Let me skirt some grass in down below here. I'm going to take this a little bit piecemeal. It's a very, very large comment. And with that said, it is very large and I appreciate it. I love big things. Okay, so we're going to leave some grass there. First bit of the comment, 703, what's that brick masonry double-track bridge called? You know what, I need to actually get into the episode here and click this so that I know what he's talking about. But I think I already know what he's talking about. Yeah. Okay, so it was the one I was staring at the beginning. Upriver here. This one. So this is something. This is Stone Viaduct 2 track. It's built in. Nothing special. Fairly old and very narrow. I have to narrow up the tracks to go on here. Historically, this would have been the original, well, not the original, but the second bridge built across this river here. which then would go in this direction, go that way, out that way. Yes. It doesn't like me skirting around in map view because of all the shadows now. That's a performance hit. It was a little bit surprising to see. But that was that. Okay, I'm going to continue with the grass because I want to get all the grass done in this area before I start laying down trees. I do need to worry about terrain a little bit, and the fact that some of the stuff is going to need special paint, special coloring, and I missed some spots along the edge here. That's another thing I need to fix. That's going to be a different kind of grass, and the grass is not going to be, or well, this kind of thick grass is not going to be on the edge, on that slope, so I'm going to put it along here, and along here. Trying to put thick enough grass, but now that we have the shadows that really break up the appearance of the forest, the grass is not as important. I don't need to lay down as much grass to get the world to look as good. It's something I just happened to notice as I was sputzing around before the episode started. And that is pleasing to me because I was basically forever worried that I wasn't putting down enough grass. I could put down tons and tons and tons of grass and it wouldn't feel like enough because you could still look deep into the forest and see that, oh, this spot's without grass in there, or, most of the forest is without grass. That's not something I wanted to show off. That's not something I wanted people to necessarily be able to see, or be able to at least notice if you weren't looking for it. Obviously, if I wanted to make it perfect, I'd have to coat everything with grass. And so it would have to be like out by the mill where everything, or not mill, out by the forestry, where everything is coated completely with grass. So, and I don't even need to put that much grass along the side of roads. Oops. So let's do that there. Yeah, and we'll do something else for the edge of this embankment, which is going to be built up with dirt. Nothing special. Alright, what's the next bit of the comment here? 2730. It's usually best when proto-lancing or building an altogether fake route to go in with somewhat vague ideas of what to do. That way you can just add items where you feel they belong, which you stated. I'm actually in the process of developing my own route, and I'm having a ruling grade of 1% along the branch line I'm currently working on. Surprisingly, Trainman 7616's medium Connies really don't like it, whether or not they're hauling a train. Interesting. I've recently had to put in a station along the way up the track. Just thought a small riverside passenger station would look really nice in the hills. Okay. Cool. Alright. Continuing. I'm going to... Let's see. I don't have grass down here yet. I was going to say, okay, I could start adding some more trees now, but I can't. Can't yet. Also, I should lay down some texture underneath this road. I know it's not necessary, but the fact of the matter is it helps me spot the road from space. It helps me spot it from map view, which I think is just as important, especially when you're wandering around and you need a specific location. Not that there's anything really important out there, but noticing where, or being able to know where the roads are is kind of important. Just for getting your bearings. And there's a bit about cars and trains in the next section that I'm about to read, which I really wish I could just pull it up on the side or pull it up on a different screen and keep working on it, but I only have so many eyes, first of all. I only have one monitor, unfortunately. This desk is too small for two of them, even though I have a second one, but I keep it at home. That'd be interesting if I could have dual monitors. Unfortunately, I wouldn't want to ever forego my desk at home, and it's far too small for that. I quite like the desk that I have at home. It's a bit of an heirloom. It's big and wooden. Or it's not that big. It's big for being a small desk, I guess. That doesn't make any sense. Get any retexture. This is something else. Yeah, so we've got this area, which we're going to be laying stuff down on, and I'll extend the grass over here in just a second. It's more about the journey than the destination. Here, it's more about the cars and the engines. I assume I was working on a road. I guess. I was painting up the edge of that cliffside over there. So yeah, that's, it's a bit you can only see from the road. And also it's way out of the way. It's at the edge of the map. It's the kind of thing where I hope nobody would be looking over there anyways, because it's at the edge of the map. But even still, worth doing for my own sake, because sense of completion and just, it's the world, I've said it before, I like building worlds rather than building routes. And that may sound a little bit pretentious actually, but it's like I'm coming into this not just to build something to run trains on. Something to write about and to do all this work for. It's not. It's sort of a labor of love to do my spreadsheets and make all these logistical plans, and it's something that I didn't necessarily plan to do, but I did it, and I'm doing it, and it's entertaining to me in a way, because I'm creating a whole world, effectively. And I'm creating a whole supply chain and everything, and it's more than you would necessarily expect to get out of your average trains route. Although, to some extent, when you build a trains route, there's the expectation of, you're going to have cargo to move from place to place. And it might be simple, it might be complicated. Obviously, the most basic, one of the things I think we all start at is either like a logging railroad where you've got a forestry and a lumber mill, and maybe a pulp mill, or, your coal line, or just a passenger line. So, but you start out with some very simple, almost unit train-like dynamics, and I feel like this is sort of where you go after that. Maybe down the line, but it's where you go after that, where you have very complicated sets of commodities where there's things going all which ways, and you basically have a choice of doing a large variety of different tasks. I'd say quite a lot of people, namely vets, are more able to keep up with the AI than you think. Heck, I've managed to outpace the AI quite a lot of times. Then again, I do love thrashing to get the train in motion, full throttle plus cutoff if applicable from the start. I'd recommend developing some sessions that are more for the somewhat experienced player, then going up from there. Maybe include some where the engine you're controlling is underpowered for the train. I've already got plans for running a medium conning up the branch with an arguably small mixed rate, which is actually rather hard to keep speed from dropping. I'm starting to think it's more of a heavy yard switcher. Yeah. I gotten on quite a tangent about the different kinds of sessions. Honestly, it's not something that I've put a lot of thought into. It's something that I was just sort of spitballing. My pride and joy is and will always be, and has always been, the idea of getting a session that just runs itself. And I don't know really why, I just sort of like watching stuff happen. But the most basic session where nothing's going on probably is still going to have all of the passenger services automated. As for outpacing the AI, I am not by any means, because I like watching things play around on their own, I am not by any means an experienced engineer in trains. I really just sort of hop on and I'll drive around and I'll do some switching and whatever, and I might do it in cab mode and I might do it in DCC mode, and it depends on the day. And either way, what I was sort of looking at that, with my statements about the AI going faster, if I actually said anything about that, which I'm sure I did, is on the run between Olive and Mason's Landing, consistently, I was unable to go at the speed limit, whereas the AI was easily able to do that. Now, that, again, the AI sort of cheats, and I'm not very good. So there's a lot of factors that contribute to that, but it was just something that was, sort of worth me thinking about, because if I'm going to be timetabling these trains, I can't just base it off of what the AI can do. I want to have it doable, and I also want to have it so that even if there is a delay or disruption on the route, the train can make up the time. And, that's not exactly a tall order, but I think the easiest way to do that is going to be to run multiple tests, some with the AI, some with myself. And that's probably, it's probably beneficial that I am slow, and because that would mean I would probably be a good benchmark for allowing the AI to, time to catch up if something goes haywire, or they get cut off or whatever. They don't get priority where they're supposed to. And, or a human driver able to keep up, especially a decent or good one. Railroad, maybe I should set you on doing some of these time runs for me if you're interested. But that's just a hypothetical. Don't get your hopes up from that. I'm probably, when I release this version, I will probably ask about if anybody's playing on it, sort of your time from place to place and what you were doing and what you were using. I'll have to build some sort of DLS-esque consist, because I've been running just Jefferson. I've been running 3713 in coaches, which is not prototype for this route, because that's not a DLS asset. Alright, so I can start filling in over here, I think. Actually, if I get some... Let me put some on the edge of this. I want to put some space there. The thing is, I don't want trees beyond the grass, and I think that's going to be sort of my benchmark, because I'm going to put the grass down, I'm going to lay down all the trees as we do, with giant copy-paste swaths that are going to cover over all of everything. And then I will have to come back and I will have to clean up all the trees. Alright, what else? In player sessions, you could always use triggers to start up trains. I don't like that. I don't know about this, but you might be able to portal in select trains. I'm going to have to go digging for that. If you could do that, actually, that'd be really cool, but that's sort of what my roadblock was and why I had to think about engineering the train stacker. Alright, I don't need that. I don't need that. Wait, yes I do. I don't need... No, I don't. So grab a nice big area and paste it down right there. And we can just cover this area, because it should preserve everything else. The reason I don't copy paste splines is because it gets troublesome. If you go back to when I was working on the forestry, the splines would just sort of arbitrarily delete each other, and you have to have both ends of a spline in your bounding box, in your copy-paste box, in order to successfully copy it. So it becomes a little bit of a pain. Alright, so we're going to paste up to here. And also up to here or so. Let me fill in a little bit more. Like right there. Anything else? No, I would go this way. I'll go a little bit more this way, but I haven't put in grass down here yet, so there's no reason for me to start working in this direction. Also, I didn't put grass on the sides of that. That was a mistake. Alright, time to do some cleanup. After I read one more. Oh, sorry, the other thing. The other thing that you said in that comment. So, there's more than one purpose for the train stacker, and there's something that I really want to do when it comes to the session. And that's pretty much the baseline for every session is going to be the one that's fully automated. Which means that while I will be using triggers, I don't like triggers for setting off trains because they require either very specific circumstances or very vague circumstances. By that I mean it's either any train or a specific train. And by specific train, I mean a specific I believe it's a specific locomotive, so it would be, Stainer Black 5 or whatever, number 1. Or, 37, or Boston and Maine P4A, number 3. And that doesn't really work for what I want to do, which is a session that technically doesn't end. It just loops back around to the beginning. Because when a train comes out of a portal, it'll just be assigned a random number. And so I can't, and things might come out of alignment, etc. So any train doesn't really work unless it's very specific circumstances. Or a specific train doesn't work because I don't know what specific train it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be number 3 or number 5 or number 12 or number 400. Presuming a session runs long enough. I think I'm mistaking precisely the way that works, but it does work something like that. There are reasons where I have sort of discounted using triggers, and the only triggers that I'm considering using, or the only trigger that I'm considering using to set off trains is a time one. And so that's another reason why, okay, so we've got scheduling. Trains should be able to arrive on time, and if not, if a train is late enough that it misses its scheduled departure, that's a problem, because in the scheduling, then the wait for time will come up, and it'll never pass that. It won't pass that until the following day. And that's a problem, because then it'll block everything. It'll cause a massive traffic jam. And, oops, I thought there was a gap there, but there wasn't. It was just a figment of my imagination. Alright, let's clean stuff up. We're getting to the end of the area that needs to be cleaned. Put this over here. This over here. This over here. Put this over here. Up here. Oh crap! Let's move some trees. No, I can make the forest close to the tracks denser by just moving trees away from the tracks, and I'm okay with that if it's a little bit denser. So like that, like so. Actually, this is fine. If I look at it from the tracks perspective, move some stuff away. All right, so we're in the area where we're in the area where stuff is going to be in the way, where I just set the trees down. I'm going to delete anything that's directly on the tracks, and then I'll move the other stuff out of the way. So let's go all the way to the end of the track here. But yeah, no, wait for time is a good command for use with scheduled stuff, because it's a specific time of day. Although probably I will only be using those at the beginnings of runs. So the plan would be to have trains get assembled in the stacker and then wait for their specified time to leave, and then the engine for that would come out of, it would start as just an engine, basically. It would come out of a portal, and it would have the instructions to put its train together and then wait for specified time. And then you could not get another You could not get another train ready until that one left, because it would be either blocking the portal or whatever. It could be set up as a sort of mechanical thing where if the train is in its waiting zone, the next engine just can't come in. It's not allowed to. So, next engine can't come in, and then subsequently it cannot assemble the train that it needs to assemble. I'm getting sidetracked here. I need to clean this up. You're not on the grass. 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 You're barely on the grass. You guys are on the road. Not on the grass. See, these are all trees that... Like, this area is open, but that's because it's in a cut, and I'm going to need to put some rocks along the edge. Get rid of these trees that are hovering on the very edge. The birch tree is fine, I guess. Ooh, this one close to the edge. You need to go away. Go away. This matters less. I'll just get rid of the ones that are directly on the road. Goodbye, goodbye. Yep, look at this car. See, we can actually see cars consistently instead of before where they would just sort of flicker in and out of existence. What a dismal life to live. Where even the roads in trains didn't work right. Then again, it's not called roads. Let's work the other direction for a second. See, I don't want to spend all the time on doing things or comments. But I love it that Tane stitches together water. I've managed to pull it off in 1 meter steps along a little river. I've always really liked riverside running in good weather. I think riverside running in any weather is really nice. I really wish that I could get... Uh-oh. Oh, this is power lines. I really wish that I could get it to work. I wish we had seasonal water. You know, that's something that that would be a really cool next step. And I talked about seasonal textures being something that if I went back and did this whole map again from scratch, that would be one of the things that I would try for, because I think they're really cool and they add a lot to a route. And they could be really important for selling a route over a period of time. And also just versatility for machinima work and whatever else you want to do with the train's route. But yeah, no, riverside running in good weather, riverside running in stormy weather, especially if it's a larger river, any sort of large body of water combined with a storm becomes incredibly cinematic. And it doesn't really matter as much in trains, but I feel like you can still get that effect. Because, you know, people often associate the open ocean with storms, or vice versa. Oh, really? Alright, so Chain just crashed. I'm going to stop the recording compulsory. Yes, I want to do that. And give me just a second. It's the trees. They're back. They're back for revenge. Alright, so let me restart Tane. This shouldn't take too long, but we do have to get back into it. Oh, you know what? I closed out my window for that. Closed out my games file. And let me guess, this is broken? Yeah, it's broken. I'm going to have to repair that. Okay, so I'm still recording audio, which you guys are just going to be seeing in black, which is a little bit annoying, I know. Alright, so it's still showing me a red number, which isn't right. We're going to go back into here. I'm going to hit edit session. It's going to ask me, I want to use the changes. Alright, so we are back to don't copy-paste large amounts of trees while you're on camera. Awesome. A little bit annoying. A little bit fun, I guess. Ouch, that was loud. Apologies. So once we load in, I'll get back to it. Let me talk about this some more instead. I've always thought of power lines as rather obnoxious. I'm waiting for wireless power lines. Pretty much the same technology as wireless charging pads, but on a larger scale. Didn't Tesla try that long time ago? You should check that out. I think he fried a bunch of telegraph cables and stuff in a great radius. If you've not read about that, the man was a mad genius. So, see, I was figuring, the power lines will look terrible as well. But then I put them together, and I think they fit in really nicely in the forest. Maybe it's because I'm used to it. And fences around roads isn't really prototypical for America unless it's near a station of some sort. Power lines, however, I'm not so sure about that. You might have to try it at some point. Maybe the least I can do is just put up a fence where power lines cross roads. I think that would be more realistic. Even if maybe in this era it wasn't. He says, as well, when you get to the next town, you should alternate between town building and scenery laying. Some roads, more trees, some buildings, some grass, so on and so on. Perhaps you could alternate via episodes. Yeah, maybe. I just try to set a few goals. I mean, last time it was, okay, we're going to do a little bit on the town and then a little bit somewhere else, and a little bit on the town, a little bit somewhere else. And then all of the somewhere else ran out. I ran out of somewhere else. It was just, I could only work in the town. And I ended up, having many episodes where I was effectively only working on Olive because it was the only thing that I had to do on that side of the river. And then once that was done, I could start working on other things. Yeah, I know I can update 10-meter tiles to 5-meter tiles, but it screws with the terrain rotation, and you guys know how much of a stickler I am for rotating my textures, and if I would have to go back and retexture everything, it's not worth it for me. If I'm done with a tile, I'm generally content with it. Content enough. There we go. Seasonal textures are amazing, but through my studies, some work based on the configurable world snow line. It's in the environment tab. Yeah. I'm gonna need to fiddle with that, because not even just for seasonal textures, but for where rain turns to snow. If you're above a certain elevation, it'll always be snow, and you can set that elevation. I think I will, but I'll have to base it on just the way the map is. I don't know how high we're gonna get in Tolbrin yet, because I don't know how much space I'm gonna have. Seasonal textures are amazing. But blah, blah, blah. That oddly looked like a shoe. Then you changed it to look like a shoe and part of a leg. Either way, I'd argue that's rather small for the area. It's rather close to a shoreline. Would expect there to be a bigger cut. Something as ineligible to have its own yard for 55-ton sandhoppers. Speaking of sandhoppers, it surprises me that even the open-air hoppers weren't tarped over before the purpose-built sandhoppers came out. Oh. I really wish Tane would load. So I'm going to spend all the time here talking about this stuff. If you guys fast-forwarded to when I finally get back at the game, I would not be surprised and or upset. Now he's talking about the quarry that I made, and yeah, it is a little small, I know. I didn't want to make it too big, considering we didn't have a lot of room, and I don't know, I didn't want to make it too big, and it's a little bit small, but maybe it's new. Maybe they're just busy pulling stuff out of the ground. I've got to put some stuff in there for pump station or whatever. Pump stuff out. It's a rather unsafe portion for the stub end. Yeah, the stub end down into the quarry, not necessarily Uh, Not necessarily non-prototype though. You've got a buffer. That's usually all you're gonna get, especially near a quarry. You've got to get as close to the edge as possible. And a spoil dump. Oh, a spoil dump. That's a good question. Ideally, we're back. Let me go back over here. Ideally, we could have... Oh, you know what? If I didn't end the recording, we might have been able to hop right back into it. That would have been a little bit strange, though. Whatever. Let me see if I can just hit record. Okay, we're back in. Let me, sync. Alright, so we're back in here. We still have a lot of trees to clean, which is, of course, inviting more crashes, but this is our duty right now, and so I'll just hope that we don't crash. Because then I'm going to do the texturing for this area. I think I'll give up on trees for a little while once I'm done with it, but... Oh, now I see pretty much exactly where we left off, although... Are we going to get trees over here? This area is devoid of trees. A couple nice big squares that just don't have trees in them. Which is a little bit annoying because that's all the area that I cleaned up. I just spent all my time on this area. Son of a gun. Hey, what's this? Well, oh. See, I can't just go fix this now. I can't do the texturing here now because I need to put the trees back. Alright, well, let me just clean this area up. So, we kind of got thwarted. I'll have to work on that off camera. Because I don't want to go and put the trees back now. And then delete them all over again. Because that is inviting more crashes. Alright. Let's move this guy out of the way. This guy out of the way. Up to there. Push you back to there. So, delete trees that are touching the track, and then move ones that are not. Getting down at track level really does help, because when you're looking at it from the canopy, you know, at least the crash, when you're looking at it from the canopy, you can't see very much. I neglect to finish sentences sometimes. At least the crash gave me time to go over more of Railord's comment. I felt like we were going to be on that for the rest of the episode. Whoops. Oh, hey, this area has trees. This I'm less concerned about. I already said with the highways, I'm less concerned about getting trees out of the way and sort of opening it up to the sky like it should be. Not nearly as worried about that. Nope. Move these guys out of the way. Oh, we kind of need to move them up onto the hill, because this area is not supposed to have trees. So we need to move them back into the grass. Most of these guys are already in the grass, but they're a little bit too close to the edge of the roadway for comfort. The idea is if you have a tree and it's right on the shoulder of the road, it's a danger to motorists, because if you have to pull off the road, you don't want to pull off into a tree. Obviously, you should take care when you're moving onto the shoulder of a road, but sometimes it's an emergency and you don't have time to take care. So, probably run a database repair once we're done here. Okay, we've got another road to clean up. Oh, this is the one we were working on when everything crashed. Awesome. I do sort of like that there's no autosaving anymore. I mean, it means no union brakes, but that doesn't really matter because I'm doing under construction talking the whole time anyways. The other day I was thinking, how did I ever do union brakes? And it was just a moment where the game was autosaving, so I couldn't work for the time lapse. And then I would just go and sputz around for a couple minutes. But that was in 12 when we had autosaving, and also it was before Under Construction, so it was before I was talking this whole time. Now I'm talking the whole time. If the game locks up for a minute or two, I just have to keep talking. I don't get a free moment. So I'm not going to do anything with trees anymore. That sort of limits what I was doing. Also, that means my crash counter is going up again. But I lost count, so doesn't really matter. I'm annoyed by the spot. All the trees went missing. They're all gone. The textures are still here, the trees are not. So, also this looks like forest camo or something. So, anyways, let me get back to this real quick. I would have placed a runaround at the edge of the switch even though there is a grade. Makes more economic sense to have one just before the switch, then two just after. Even sand trains need to run around. Hold on, let me go over there and actually look at this arrangement now. Oh, what, this? I don't know. I might have put one up here, I guess. But I was trying to keep everything localized down here. So I think this is fine. It's a little bit out of the way. But, consider the train's going to come in, switch out like 6 or 7 cars tops from here, maybe 8, on a real good day. And then push them down here and then run around them and, whatever. He's going to pull in, run around his train, and then do all his switching from this end. And then just leave. Pull the train backwards out that way. Back to Mason's Landing, probably. Because that's the way everything's facing. And it's a, one-way track, quote-unquote. Honestly, I think it probably would be, because you'd pull in and stop, and then pull into here, and then continue on to Mason's Landing, and then wrap around back the other direction. Now, this is fine, because we actually have room for this here. Assume you're talking about this with the cliffside. I think Lib Hayes bumpers look like that. What are they called? If you can tell me what they're called, I'll look them up and download them. I prefer using asset names, because it's a little bit less of a pain to sort them out. General goods, food, feed, yep. Special order farm machines and utilities. I am doing like a typical day, I guess. So, special order stuff I'm not going to worry about. But yeah, feed is a good one. And I was fixing to make this place over here something that makes feed for the animals. Should got to work on this as well. Should come back here and do some of this work on the seaport over there. That would be fun for today. Little JR dirt road connection perhaps. And yes, I know I'm saying a lot of JR stuff, but they're just so good. Probably want to put a wooden crossing boards and a 4-track crossbuck. Where's this? Oh, okay. Yeah. I do have to tie all those little creameries in with dirt roads to somewhere, probably. So including this guy over here. But this guy's going to have a little loop spur. But yeah, everything does need to have that. And so having a little dirt road crossing here would make sense. I've got to have some sort of road that follows along this. Would make sense. I'm going to shill Trainman's 7616's latest works, Heavy Santa Fe 210-2 and Medium Consolidation. They're available at the Erecting Hall in generic and C&O colors. Also available as a roundhouse kit. This is a DLS only challenge, and that's an interesting way of phrasing it. I would generally phrase it as, I'm making a multiplayer route, because you can only use stuff from the DLS and built in to actually start a multiplayer session. Alright, so we're going to come down this way. We're going to break off a little bit, because I don't want to do street running for the whole time. I do use a lot of JR stuff, but only the stuff that's built in. Oh, is this... Oh, it is wood track. I thought it was not. I thought it was not wood track. Thought I made it rails only. That would have been smart. So we're going to build in this direction. We actually do have to go in this direction, so because I want to get to over here where we're going to be putting some stuff, and that would have probably been a little narrow corridor. I'm going to have to put some buildings on the sides of it in order to make that make a little bit more sense. Whoops. Here's the other thing. I need to... It doesn't really matter if spline points are in advanced mode or not. I need to get the subtle curve out of this, though. Which means I need to place... Yeah, I needed to get the subtle curve out of the main stretch, because that did not deserve to be there. I need to get it into this. It's a little bit tight. But it doesn't matter because I can just move spline points however I want them because they're not in advanced mode. Which, it's okay that this has sort of the wave in it, and this doesn't. We're going to move this to here. I'm going to build this to here. And probably build a crossing here, even though this road falls a little bit short. Oh, I didn't put in intersections yet. Oh, crap. I've been working in stupid session. Well, I need to redo some stuff. Need to redo some stuff. Thankfully, I haven't done all that much. I've just deleted things, which I think that's fairly universal. So back in a route layer, let's redo work you did. Man, this has been a remarkably counterproductive episode. A remarkably unproductive episode so far. I'm going to need to do plenty in my off time to make up for it. Because we had a crash, and I did that, and I had to redo it. Last time I did that, I redid it off camera. But that's not the first time I've made that mistake. At least, and not the first time in a long time. I mean, not the first time in a short amount of time as well. It's been quite a thing to have to remember to do that. Is that too sharp? No, it's fine. I think I'm going to do a little bit of bumpity bump to this. Yeah, sure, why not? I will have to get to these other comments momentarily. I'm just restoring the thing that I did wrong. I actually have to make a pretty sharp turn this way here. Drop off stuff up here. That's going to be probably the end of the line for this port spur. which is unfortunate that I have to make this turn because that means I have to make a curved crossing, which means I have to use a TLS or whatever the new thing is instead of just using a built-in crossing. That is way too sharp. That's the technical term for it. So I'm going to pull this over this way. This is not good because I'm running out of land. I have effectively completely run out of land. I don't want to cut across this way. I suppose I could just go straight across the intersection. If I'm doing, ATLS. Or whatever. I can do whatever I want. I'll worry about coming across the proper way. No. Oh. Why did I straighten that? Well, that looks a little bit better. But it doesn't really look good, if you ask me. Not to mention the fact that it's crossing so awkwardly. But there's not any room here. Although if I built some sort of seawall... Actually, I can change this. I said I would. And if I hook things around to here, I can build a little yard right here. Even though that is very downhill. Yeah, how about this? It's just a right turn. It's a right angle. It is a little bit sharp, a little bit of a tall order to ask of a train. I've probably seen worse, but it's just not great. In fact, what I'd probably want to do is bend the road in so that it's not like this. That would be the ideal here. Yeah, and I think I'll do that. Because I can do that. That's a thing. So if I move this like that, instead of the way it is. Question is, how do I sort of reconcile this? Because it's cockeyed. The answer is probably like this. Well, that looks really weird. That looks really bad, actually, is the right word. Weird is not the right word. But I'll just have to pull this way. Again, I'm just doing mock intersections right now. I will do real ones at some point. Yeah. It'll have to be like that, and then this, I guess I can just do this with. Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's not touching the thing. That's fine. So now the issue is, what? What sort of stupidity could I reap here? What can I really do? The answer is if I could put, like, a couple of dry docks here. With cranes and stuff. And I don't want to go crazy. But I feel like there's opportunity to put some cool stuff here. Because this is supposed to be a little shipbuilding facility. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe I'm not building a shipbuilding facility. Maybe I'm building a shipbreaking facility. I think I might do that. I think I might build a shipbreaking facility. Because we've got quite a beach here. This sort of semicircular cove. And I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on that. We could have a scrap place that's, that you take a car all the way down here, almost all the way around the town to get over here. And alternately, I could just have a switch that comes off of here to do that, but that doesn't make an awful lot of sense, because this is the main line. So, question is, can I get the track down to here easily? And I think I can, with a little bit of work. With a minimal amount of work. A medium amount of effort. Like so. And I can make it one track where you just load scrap onto the boat. Or off the beach. Because if this is the shallows, you have something beach itself here, and then, at low tide. Actually, speaking of which, no, that's right, because I said at one point that how I'm working is this is the world at high tide. So I have to cover this over and make it the world at low tide. Or, and make it so that at low tide, this area is sand. Why is it flickering? Yeah, we've got a massive sandbar there now. Oh well. What would be a beach if this was a resort town, but it's not. Let's see, can I get down using a 1%? Can I go this way a little bit more and hug this and then come around? Because right now this is very steep. Actually, I might be able to do something kind of silly here. And it might look cool too. Alright, let's try for negative 0.9. As is tradition. Feel like this isn't going to work. Yeah, so, that is not enough track to get us down. Doesn't even really get us close. So, I might, instead of having this have some sort of scrap conveyor and just have it drop it off up here. Because what I was going to do, if it made it down, I was thinking of building a trestle here. Just for the sake of it. Just for the sake of having it be a trestle. To get down onto the beach. No. But it means that you're coming all this way with just one or two cars, and while that is also kind of goofy, it's not necessarily out of the question or even really unusual. Because if you've only got one if you've only got one shipper left on a line, that's all you're going to do. I could put a couple of other spurs in here just to add a little bit more fun, a little bit more intrigue. But all things considered, that's just what's down here. I don't know. I like the idea. If you guys don't like it, I'll do something else. I'll put a actual shipbuilding yard instead of a shipbreaking yard. Admittedly, having a shipbreaking yard is kind of morbid, but they definitely exist. There are plenty of scrap metal places near where I, oops. Yeah, I guess that was good. I just wanted to see how that was if that was removed. Here, I'll do one other thing. I'll add another spur over here. Just for something else to do. Why? What's wrong with it? Here, we'll do it like that. Well, that doesn't look right. If I adjust that and move this up slightly. There we go. See if I push this a little bit closer. Yeah, so, sort of. But this is going to be interesting because now we have two tiers of cliffside almost. What height is this? Can I do a little negative 0.9 doohickey right here? Also, I want to do that. And that. And lower that. Yeah, and so what is the level of this? 8.61. I want to make that 8.61. Alright, looks like we're close enough. I can add that there. And one of the things I do want to add, if we head on back to Olive real quick, is one of my favorite things that I just happened to come across while I was working on this map early on. Uh-oh. Come on, please, don't do this to me again. Okay, thank you. It was these guys. The retaining walls. And I've wanted to use them all over, honestly. But I've sort of kept it in my pants. I just think they're way too cool, and that's the wrong way around. Come on. Yeah, more or less like that. Grab that. 8.53. Yeah, because I can have sort of trucks up on this that can be dropping stuff off. Especially if I have like a loading ramp here. Somewhere. Or a loading dock even. But actually the best thing, I just had an idea. So I need crane track. Yes. So if we have crane, no, crane 1, no animation. Yes, you are excellent. Because what we can have this do is if we flatten this out a little bit more, this area right here. Nope. Turn the radius down, turn the sensitivity up. Are there any, like, ground slabs? Is that a thing? This is all 5-meter grid, so it should work fairly well. But, yeah, we can have this like this, and the crane can reach over and take stuff out of trucks. Or carts, even, that are hauling things up from the beach. Oh, whoops. I'm not on plateau anymore. That's right. Turn that off. In fact, actually, I want to do this. We have a crane buffer. But, admittedly, you made a good point about that runaround, and I'm going to have to think about that more, because I didn't think about putting it before the thing. Before the actual entrance to the place. And we might have to put like a dirt road or something on here just to show that this is where the trucks are going to be driving. We're going to need to put a bunch of dinky old dump trucks full of scrap metal if at all possible. I don't think that's a thing I can do, but we can talk about it. I have to make that dirt to comply with the way that it looks. And maybe I could even put up another seawall here. And maybe some riprap. If there's like a rocks spline, if anybody knows of one, you could tell me one. Anyways, comments. Back to comments. Either way, it says, welcome back to America. TBA Avenger says, honestly, Run 8 and Trains needs to have a baby. That would be the ultimate child. Yeah, I would love if more things paid as attention to detail as Run 8 pays to the detail of its simulation. I don't know how Train Sim World stacks up. If somebody that has both can chime in, that'd be really cool. But Run 8 is almost like the golden child simulator. It is fantastic. I'm going to throw down some Yarnish intersections. Yarnish T intersection, because the regular ones are broken. S T intersection. Nope, that's off the other kind of road. That doesn't matter enough. You see, that's more or less properly aligned. Now I just need to break it and put it there. Break, 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 break. There we go. Come on, let me grab it. Come on, let me grab it. Think. Oh. Okay. So that's one. Oh, that's right. Right. I use yarn, not yarnish. T intersection DES. Like this. Nope, not like that. Why are these guys broken? This one. This one is broken. Yet I have to use it all over. Because I'm using yarn, not yarnish. I should I should just switch these roads over to Yarnish, actually. Maybe I will. So what kind of road is this? This is a L2DL2. L2DL2. Alright, well, hold on, let's do this. Current section only. For now. Take Yarn L2DL2 and replace with Yarnish L2DL2. What? Begin. Alright, now they're taller. And here too. I need to see where the edge is, because then I need to replace it in that section too, like here. I guess I'm becoming a Yarnish person now. Oh, and of course, that's a yarn intersection. I probably should just zoom out and see where the edges of the tiles are. I think it should be all of them. Yeah, I did these 4. Should be. Let me just do this tile for good measure. Oh, that's right, there are roads on this side. Oh, and I need to upgrade. I need to replace the other things over here as well. Alright, let's replace all these darn sections that are broken. We also need to edit their properties. Traffic control devices, stop. Yeah, it's probably going to be it. This definitely needs those things. Let's grab one. Definitely needs the, what do you call it? The sign. It needs the arrow sign, because we don't want people driving off the edge. Also, it's not aligned properly. There we go. Okay, so now let's reattach everything. Damn it. Again, we're just adding to what this episode has become, which is horribly unproductive. Also, I just attached that directly to the... Nope. Give me the little bitty road. And now this is resting on the edge of the track. Push it back to there. Same thing with you. Attach. Good. Although this is hovering now, because I changed it around a little bit. Just slightly. Just a tad. Whoops. Alright, that's just going to stay the way it is. This bridge needs to be replaced. Yarnish bridge. This one. I'm sure I can do that. I no wonder why everything's been so quiet. I turned the sound off in trains. Oh, that means you guys didn't hear the bloop bloop earlier, I think. Oh, I don't think you could have, because I'm not sure the recording was actually on. That may have been in the intermediate. It was in the intermission. That's what this was all about. Just to have an intermission. What else? 22 minutes, not to mention 50 minutes at 100 miles an hour. I can only assume I was talking about something else. I can only assume I was talking about getting from one town to another. See, the timestamps are very useful, but only when I'm looking at something, because I keep the other video muted. So you can see that I didn't quite think this one through. Or rather, I put everything way too close. It's just just do that for now. And then we'll jump into spline mode and attach things. Attach on all three sides. There we go. Oh, we paved over it. Alright. Whenever we see a little bump like that, we have to fix it. Uh-oh. Oh, I see what happened here. Okay, so I need to actually lower this slightly. Because... Whoops. Because this is higher than the other thing. This is higher than the older stuff, so the track is now slightly below it. There we go. Slightly buried. That was a little bit too low, actually. So what is this right now? 6.27. How about 6.4? No. How about 6.33? That's better. 6.7. How about 6.67? That's better. And on this end, we've got 9.07. How about 9.0? That was not... was that enough? Close. In fact, I think I'm going to raise this a little bit to make it closer to that. So 6.69. No. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's fine. Seems fine. Okay, so we'll work on that more in a second. 16 minutes. On the topic of forcing oneself to do something, I was in Run 8 for 6 solid days doing nothing but taking care of San Bernardino, organizing auto racks from other freight cars, sorting said freight cars into their respective locals, sending wrong order cars back to a hump yard, and running said locals. Fun stuff. Also, I didn't really force myself per se, I just did it. Well, see, then that's kind of external to the forcing yourself conversation I think I was having. When you get really involved in something, it's really easy to do it. You know, when I felt like, when I wanted to work on this, when I wanted to work on Tolbrand, it was easy for me to say, okay, I'm just going to hop in and I'm going to build more mainline. You know, when I wanted to connect the two towns, for instance, when they weren't connected yet. So a lot of that stuff that I did off camera. It was easy for me to hop in and work on it because I felt like I wanted to do it. It was just something that I did. And to an extent, it was like, oh yeah, oh boy, I can't wait to get back to doing it. But at the same time, I wasn't dragging my feet at all. And if you just hopped in because you felt like, all right, it's time to do that thing, it's time to work on San Bernardino, then, you know, I don't think you were, yeah, like you said, I don't think you were forcing yourself to. I mean, admittedly, there's a difference between a sense of duty and forcing yourself to do something. You could do something out of a sense of duty. It could feel like forcing yourself. Or you could be forcing yourself and you're sort of out is because it's your duty. But no, they're not necessarily one and the same. Now, on the other hand, it might not have felt like it, but maybe you were forcing yourself to do it. Maybe it was okay, well, this is my job, I have to do it. And to that extent, I can understand it. I can understand yeah, well, I have to do this, I have to make this video. It's, it's a thing that I've told my subscribers that I'm going to do. It's got to come out in a schedule. I've got to put work into the route. Stuff like that. It's not rocket science. And at the same time, I'm not sure if I would call it forcing as well. It's a blurry sort of distinction. Because what does it really mean to force yourself to do something? What does it mean to, what is this? What are the difference between these two? What does it mean to force yourself to do this? Or what does it mean to just do it day in and day out? I don't know, and I guess it depends on how you were feeling when you were doing it. If you're saying you didn't force yourself, then you didn't. I would wager I don't think you're lying to me. At the same time, though, sometimes just doing that thing day in and day out because you feel like you ought to, that's kind of what you need in order to get a task like that done. It's the same sort of idea. And maybe when I said I was forcing myself, I didn't really phrase it accurately, because, yeah, I do it out of a sense of... I work on the route out of a sense of duty. I have to set time aside for it. But it's not a struggle to do it. It's not a struggle to want to do it. I still come into the game and I'm like, alright, I'm looking forward to working on Tolgren today. Usually. Today I definitely was, because I just wanted to get more of that scenery done, but now the game disagreed with us on that sentiment, so we're doing something else. We're putting intersections in. Also something that had to be done. But in this case it was something that I decided that I had to do this to get away from working on scenery. But it's something that had to be done anyways. I wasn't forcing myself to go out of my way to do this. Now, when it came to the latter days of working on Olive, then I could probably say that I had to force myself to do some of that work. Because, admittedly, I was totally spent on town building, and there's a reason why I didn't jump right into town building here. I was done with it, and I'm pretty sure I know you guys were too. You guys had seen plenty of it. You guys had seen more town building than most Trains Surveyor players ever bother to do. It was a lot. It was a crazy amount, really. And I'm not planning on doing that again for some time. Some quite significant time. Now let's lower that again. It's going to be a long, long time before I get to Gilson City. That's the next time that I even come close to doing that much work. Town. Bellington's going to be interesting, but it's going to be much, much smaller scale. Alright, so I've got to connect this up. I've got to put this over here. The other thing is I kind of want to start, let's see. We've got we're an hour and 25 minutes in. I want to start working on the palette for the estuary. That's, that can be a bit of a tall order. But that is what we have to work on. We have to figure out what we want to put in there. Also, I do have some other semi-important comments that I need to get to. No, it's too far away. We can do better than that. Let's just bite the bullet, put a spline point in, and build a little switch. What is this spline point height? Alright, what is this spline point height? 1.3? Yeah. I definitely need to adjust this more. I also think I should be raising this. Unless I just want to make this dirty. Maybe I can just lower this slightly. Whoops. Turn the sensitivity down too. No, that's hovering. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Can I raise this at all? Raise it just a little bit? Does not allow height change, damn. Is it in a pit or something? Can I raise the ground to get it out? Doesn't look like it wants to move. Okay. Well. I guess we'll just have to do this then. Which, this is not a good solution. This is at 1.0. If I change it to 1.1, it gets it up just a little bit. Nope. Wrong way. See, that dips almost into the ground. It's not good. It's not the way it should be. So I guess what I'll have to do is I'll have to embed the rails in pavement or something. Or equivalent, just to make it show that they're there. But either way, this is where you're going to pull in with coal. I'm going to run this road across. And then I also want to do this. That looks appalling. Well, we'll just have to hide it. Or not, because that doesn't work either. Can I get rid of gradient on this? Oh, that actually looks better. Okay. So, let me embed the end of this in the ground so that it looks a little bit better, and then we'll probably attach an invisible road to it if we needed to go any farther. This area is just going to be for the coal. This is feed and stuff, like I said. This area is going to be for shipbuilding supplies. Yes, shipbuilding, so we do already have a little shipyard here. I don't know what I'm going to put down here. I could always stick another spur over here. Yeah, we could have just a cluster of shops down here that are built up around the railroad tracks, and then another cluster of shops down here. This is going to be like the center of town. In terms of commercial stuff, and then the depot is going to be over there. We're going to have some more storefronts over here. But you're not supposed to cross the tracks. People do it anyways. That might be the catalyst for me putting a fence up, actually. Because they want people to go around and cross at either this or the crossing down here. They don't care if people walk across this. They do care if you walk across this. Too many deaths. They will put up a fence. So let me do that right now. So, fence. I need a chain link fence. We need to go back to the fence store in Olive. Alright. Fence galvanized, spiked. Downtown fence iron. Old village fence. Corrugated iron fence. No, I want just a chain link fence 4-foot rusty. That's fine. Man, that does not have a high render distance. Can I have another one? Yeah, this one's fine. About like that. Looks good to me. Just going to follow the very edge of the texture. That's a good measure. Not that it really matters too much, it's a fence. If I wanted to be really precise about it, I put the spline points parallel with all the other ones. Straighten out bits of the spline that are really important to straighten out, which I think I will have to go back and do because that part looks real bad. But yeah, this is to prevent desire pathing. If you don't know what that is, there's a subreddit all about it. You should look it up. Sorry, I'm concentrated on my fence. Okay, so we've got a fence up. See, fences can be there when there's a purpose for them. Other than that, I don't need to put them in. Here in this case, it's like, alright, this is a good thing, and then we'll just leave a little grassy strip here. Maybe a couple of houses down this way. Okay, so what else have we got? Obligatory 5-minute grid comment, thank you, Mason. JVC SH1 set 2. So let's look that up right now. JVC SH1. Oh, the shrub splines. Okay, nice. That looks random enough too. I could probably just put that around. Shrub spline E and G. I've got E and G. So there apparently are a bunch of them that I can vary up. But this one looks to be the best. Yeah, I'll have to play around with those. Use the first 3 in the surveyor list. Alright, I'll have to look them up and download them. So that's to get the layered effect that he was talking about, or that I've been talking about, and he discovered a way to do it. So if we hop back here where we were doing our tree work earlier, whoa. Oh. No. Come on. All of our trees except for that one square. I don't want to attach them together. I don't want to attach them. You can do stuff like this and get different layers so you can't see farther into the forest. And so I may have to do that a little bit more. The only thing is then you're disappointed by the fact that you can see over them in some cases. But that is something that I'm going to have to work on. Maybe for other places with thick forests. Because right here I don't think I'm going to bother redoing all this grass and stuff that we've worked on. And it's probably something I'll have to work on more off camera because, again, we found out today that the forest no longer agrees with us. So we've done our road work over there. I said Blue Lion replied to him, said those 5 are built in the game too, just looked it up. Which ones? The SH1s are here. JVC, number. These guys. SH1 set 2. Oh, okay. Okay, so these are shorter, those are taller. That's really cool. Just the little details and stuff. GR1 grass line. That's really nice as well. I may have to use that out here. So, I do need to think about what we're going to do for the swamp and for the vegetation in the swamp, because that is particularly important. Having stuff like this, oh, that's awesome actually. Having this around the edges of these lakes is good and is actually particularly important because it sort of sells the idea that we're in a wetlands. And so we're going to have some dark, muddy area where these guys are, and I tried to leave space where we could have these sticking above the water. And then an area where they can't stick above the water, that's where we won't have them. So we're going to have these guys, I've already decided, we're going to have these guys on all the edges. And basically, as often as we can. Because it's an estuary, it has this stuff. And as well, we're going to want some of the thicker grass that we can put in. Grass 29, what is this? That does not look any good. Not out here, at least. Don't even try. Don't even try. Oh, you know what? Let me turn my stupid sound back on. Because that probably would be a good thing. I don't know why. I must have gotten annoyed with the industry sound or something. Not that that matters right now. It does matter when I do that. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay? Thank you. We're gonna make patches of this stuff, just intermixed with the brownish. We're going to work in some green. Well, here's what we can do. We can actually copy-paste this as well. But again, I just wanted to work out the color palette. This is not. That's not it. That's not good. Sedge. Ah, this stuff is good. Look at that. It's looking good already. We need to stretch these out over some pretty large areas, because that way it won't be obvious. The idea that they're just squarish splines. Maybe we can have some sort of pattern, like certain things are near or in channels. Obviously, the stuff can only be in water as deep as it is tall, because if it's submerged, there's no use putting it there. And we should always have some sort of cover. Except in areas where the water is too deep for anything, we should always have some sort of thicker cover like this. And as well, we need our just regular old, like greenish spline. What is this? I have no idea what this is. Maybe that's good for extremely tight details, but it is going to be a lot of... Oh, it's this stuff. And the grass and shrub splines are not any good. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to the shrub splines, the pound shrubs. These look like they could be really good for on-land areas, like they're briars, they look like. Yeah, they could definitely be that. They are not something you want to trudge through, especially in the winter months. You know, I've not had the, I don't normally frequent, like, the beach during these months, but if you've ever been by the ocean, sorry, by the ocean in the winter, you know that it can just be unabashedly frigid. It's this... I almost said there's no rhyme or reason for it. There's clearly rhyme and reason for it. It's winter. But... Oh, yeah. But just the fact that just the water spray and stuff like that, and in stagnant water like this is probably even worse. It's probably just appalling, really, to be in to be in it. So let's whoops, get rid of this. Clear that, because I need some regular ones. Let's look at some paint. Let's try to paint some stuff. Now I really want either dirty or grassy, like this. No, that's too much. That looks, it's too rich. This is better. But even that is a little bit too colorful, I think. If we go back real quick to where we have ballast, and we can grab that texture, because we're going to be using this. Yep, that's why I didn't want to turn the sound on. If we use this as our top texture because that's just what it's going to be all the time. We have a standard for what the ground underneath the tracks is made of. Oh, okay. Alright. This looks far too prim and proper. Far too well done. Far too clean of an edge. It's not good. Sam ballast. What is this? That's good, but a little bit plain. Yeah, there's nothing going on under there. Schwimmwasser. That is extremely green. It fits, but it is extremely green. That's a little bit too much if you ask me. Admittedly, I should probably be doing something like I did before, where I grab a few different colors, mix them together. Yeah, that's almost like a fairy tale-y green. I want it like that, but that's a little bit too much. Seasonal water. This might be good. Yeah, let's open that radius up. This is not looking half bad. Yeah, we're definitely going to have different densities of vegetation, so. That actually looks pretty good. I don't know about the edges of this. Maybe we should do them with what we've been using as embankment dirt so far. So that makes a little bit of sense. Let me go and grab that. Embankment dirt. That's actually probably the spot to go to because I know... Yep, right there. Oh, that's still loud. Oh yeah, all's forest floor darker. The biggest downside of having a better graphics card and being able to turn the render distance up is the sheep now show up from farther. You don't even have to get close to them anymore. And now we have a scene almost right here. Although I need the other kind of grass, which we left down here once again. Actually, no, I can get it from Mason's Landing. So we don't have to load in all that stuff. That's another loud one. I really need to just turn my volume down. I got way out of it because of the thingy. Oh, I think I had another comment. One more. Well, I'm glad to see you're back from your trip to the outside world of the U.S. I was wondering where you went, but the podcast answered that because I don't really know what happened. I was missing my trains vids to watch. Anyway, I'm working on a new fiction route called the Eastern Valley Railroad, and one day you'll get to do a route review of it someday too. Awesome. But it will connect the Class 1s, mostly NS and some CSX, and I'll make sure they don't derail either. Lol. The EVRR will have NG2, but you won't see any of it, but it'll be there just in the mountains. Cool. Also, it'll be cool to be on the podcast with you with you all young people, but I'm in a rush to be on the podcast either. Anyway, keep up the great work on this route, and even on the zombie train, if that's then still a thing, or the Iron Horseman 2. Also, I found a creamery on the DLS 2, and it's by Hobbyman350. It looks great. It'll fit the area too. Awesome. I will look into that creamery. I meant to do it before the show started. But that was Ice of a Blue Lion. Thank you for that. Oh, did I miss? I missed. I didn't actually grab them. I didn't grab the thing. I need it. Gimme. That one right there. That one right there, actually. That's the one I wanted. I think, right? Turn my volume down. Ah, it's so loud. Stupid truck is so loud. Yeah, okay, it's this one. I got it. I got it. I'm heading out. I've got 10 minutes. So it only takes a little bit of concepting and then a lot of copy and paste. This is not the one that I clicked on. This is not what I wanted. I guess we're just using it here anyways. Grass blind mixed. No, not that kind. Alright, I'll just stick to this one for now. It is definitely not the one that I wanted, though. Can I go and just make sure that I grab the correct one for once? I would really like to have the one that I wanted. Just this one in the middle. That is it. That is it right there. So, despite the fact that we didn't get a whole lot done today on the area that I wanted to work on, we discovered that we're going to be building a shipbreaking yard, which simplifies that area a lot and makes it so we don't have a bajillion commodities going in and out of that spot. We've determined where we're going to put some of the main buildings, though we don't know what those main buildings are yet. I actually will need help with that because I can't seem to find ones that I like. I feel like I'm going to be reusing because I blew my load in Olive with all the cool buildings. So I'll have to be reusing buildings. But, yeah. I will definitely need some stuff that's not shrubs to be putting on the ground here. Most of this is going to be... I'm going to just lend it to the water and the splines to carry the interestingness instead of the texture. Instead of the variation in texture. Which means I should probably find a spline that I can slip under here and it won't look bad. Maybe that has some color in it too, because come on, let me do it. Nope. Just won't. Nope, just won't. I'm just trying. I'm holding. Oh. May or may not have been holding enter instead of shift. This says it's dark green. I don't believe you. This doesn't look green at all. This is middle green. What is middle green? I'd expect that to be just green. Whatever, it looks really good, I think. It looks extremely cluttered, but that's not necessarily a bad thing there. It does have all this plant growth, plant life. Now imagine we're just tearing through this. There's not going to be a single tree. There might be a dead tree. Or like a, nope. Let's see. Nope. No. Oh. Like this. Although that does not look good. I think I'll leave it without trees. Maybe a couple of dead ones. We did this whole area. Oh, this is gonna be a trick doing this. It's gonna be a lot of work. Hopefully it turns out well, but I think this area turned out pretty well. But this is a hell of a pile of splines. Thanks for the shrub splines. When it's done, it's gonna be really something. But anyways, off camera, I'm gonna try to do some work. I'm gonna try to get the trees further down and patch up the area that we were working on here, because it's relatively simple work. The other thing is I want to build some little minor settlements on the coast, like right here maybe, wherever we have some room, and where we still have the highway. Here, no. Over there, yes. And I do need to think about what roadways we're going to have on the other side of the estuary here. Yeah. Yeah, this area, it's a small quarry. Maybe I should make it bigger. And I've got a lot to think about. We definitely have made some breakthroughs today, but I'm already wary with poking at stuff because I don't want the game to crash again. So we'll have more time next time. Yeah, you know what I can do? I'll just go back to what I was doing at the very beginning for the next couple of minutes. Which, this was the kind of grass that I was looking for. It's got color. It looks grassy. Maybe I'll start to transition into shrubbier stuff as we get higher. I don't know about the tree line, but the tree line is up pretty high. I know you go above it when you hike up Mount Washington, but that's 6,000 feet up. I don't know how high we're going to get. Once again, like I keep saying, like I've said already once this episode, I don't know how high we're going to get on this map. It's just an exercise in we're going to go up. We're not going to make a super steady steep climb or anything. We are going to have a hell of a climb. But I don't know, we're going to have to cross the, the Valley Railroad, so to speak. See, we're already at what? We're already at 24. Yeah. And that's not that high. But if we go over here, for example, click on that. I guess we can't. And this is an example bridge. But, for example, if we move this over here temporarily, and we decide to, that's 81. Like, this is not that much higher than, this is about 4 times as high as this is over here. And this is such a short ascent. So, I think that we're going to have maybe a sort of summiting over here somewhere, where I might even connect these. I might have this come out a little bit and then come back and then come out a little bit. Because they're supposed to be more or less parallel. And then come back down a little bit to cross here, but I don't necessarily like that idea. I don't. So, we're going to have to figure that one out. Because if I want us to get higher than we are, I think I might just have to avoid this entirely, avoid the crossing. because it's going to be so high up. You know, unless we toy around with the gradients on here. Like this is already in some cases almost a 1% or just over a 1% gradient, and so is this bridge. So we'll really have to build some terrain and see where it goes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Train Man out.